Hello, good morning, Yetu students. How are you all doing today? Welcome to today's lesson. Today being 27th of January 2022 and being the fifth lesson for week 4. Our lesson for today is sentence types question. Guys, remember last week we were able to see a type of sentence statement for last week, but today we're going to be seeing another type of sentence called questions. Okay, so that being said, please kindly get your vocabulary book, that's a grammar book, and your pencils, and keep it right beside you. Let's get into today's lesson. So this is our mission and vision here at Brighton. And the value for the month still remains respect. So for today's lesson objectives, you will be able to show understanding of sentence types, question, like copying question sentences and adding a question mark. Okay, so you're going to copy some question sentences and then you add a question mark to it. Again, you will be able to show understanding of question sentences by constructing a question sentence. So you are going to come up with a question sentence. Okay, guys? Okay, that being said, let's look at the vocabulary words for the week. And remember, today will be our spelling test. Okay, so kindly log on to your webinar and write your spelling test. Okay, for the starter, I'm still going to leave this game for you on Fedina so you can play before you go right into the lesson. So, like I said, today's topic is about questions. Okay, questions are sentences that ask you something. They usually end with a question mark. For example, we have, what did you have for dinner? Okay, so this is an example of a question. Okay, so can you give me an example of a question? Okay, we have more examples like, what is your name? How are you doing today? What did you have for breakfast today? Which of those boys is your brother? Okay, so we have so many question sentences, right? And you'll be able to give me one question sentence. All right, so that being said, can we open the vocabulary book, page 24? Okay, so here in the vocabulary book, page 24, we have it to be the grammar unit 5. And our lesson for today is sentence types, questions. So here it's telling us that questions are for information. They often use question words like why, what, where, how, who, and when. So questions should end with a question mark. Okay, very important. Remember your punctuations when you're writing a sentence. A sentence cannot be complete if not punctuated, right? And remember, for us to write a sentence, we started with a capital letter and then we end with whatever it is. If it's a sentence, if it's a question sentence, we end with a question. So for today, all our sentences will end with what? A question mark. And this is a sign for a question mark, okay? So look at more examples of question sentences. Number 1, what do cows eat? Again, how much grass is there? How much grass is there? Okay, so that being said, let's get started. Here it says, read the pairs of sentences, copy the sentence that is a question, and add the question mark. One has been done for you. So guys, what this place is trying to tell us is that number 1 has 2 sentences, but one of them is a question. So we have to choose the one that is a question, and we end it with a what? A question mark. Okay? We put a question mark to it, and then we should copy it. We are supposed to copy it. But if you can't copy, you can underline the one that is a question, the sentence that is a question. Okay, so for example, I have number 1A. Was the farmer in the field? The farmer was in the field. So the answer here is, was the farmer in the field? So this is the answer. Can you see it has been copied? Okay, so let's see another one. Number 2, he was where the horses are. B, where was he? Where was he? So actually this is the question. We put a question mark and we underline it. Yes. So the number 2 is done. Now let's get into number 3. 3A says, nobody knew how cold he felt. B says, how did he feel? Can you see? Actually, one is a question and the other one is the answer. Look at it. Number 2A says, 2B says, where was he? And B is like a reply. He was where the horses are. So B, number 3 says, nobody knew how cold he felt. So B says, how did he feel? Can you see the question there? How did he feel? And this A will be a good response. Nobody knew how cold he felt. Okay, so we do what? We underline it. Very correct. Now number 4, was there lots of work to do? Now B says there was lots of work to do. So A definitely is the question. And what do? We underline it. Okay, so that is it, guys. Let's look at page 25, although it is a homework. Remember, this is homework. You should be able to do it, but I'm going to guide you on what to do. Okay? I'm going to guide you on what to do or how to solve it. So, it says, try this. So let's first of all read the instruction. Put the words in the correct order to make questions. Use a capital letter for the first word of each question and add the question mark. One has been done for you. Okay, so number 1 here says cat was the word. It's not making sense. So we have to put the words in order to make sense. And the answer here is, where was the cat? So you see, we put the words in order to form a question or a sentence question. Where was the cat? And look, we start with a capital letter and we ended with a question mark. Okay? So number 2, did words sleep the do? So what do you think it will be? Definitely what starts the question, okay? So what do? We put what? A capital letter for W. So this, for number 2, when you put the words together, it should be, what do the sheep, okay, no, what did the sheep do? Did you see that? What did the sheep do? And at the end, what do? We put a question mark. Okay, so number 3, horses in many, the how are banned. So what do? What is the right way to put the sentence? We say here, how, we started with how. That means the H should be a capital letter. How many horses are in the barn? How many horses are in the barn? And don't forget to put a question mark. Now, number 4 says, Number 4, you definitely going to start every word when. Okay, so we start with a capital letter for W. So this one says, when did the wind start to blow? When did the wind start to blow? So at the end, blow should end it and we put what? A question mark. Now number 5, what? How do we put together number 5 in order? Here we have farmers did why carry the. Okay, it's not making sense. So we start with why because it's a question. So we put this in capital letter. We have here, why did the farmer carry on walking in the cold? So cold should end it, and when we end it, we put a question mark. So this statement reads, why did the farmer carry on walking in the cold? So it's asking a question. Why did the farmer carry on walking in the cold? So I know I've given you a clue. You can solve this by yourself, right? Okay, so that being done, now let's try this. Write a question asking about these characters. Think carefully about word order and remember to use the correct punctuation. So we're going to use number 1 to make a sentence, and we're going to use number 2 also to make a sentence. So think of a question sentence and use a jolly baker to make a sentence. Okay, so that will be it. When you're done, kindly send to me on Fedena and I'll check it. All right, so that will be the end of today's class. Okay, if you have more questions, don't forget to ask me on Fedena. Okay, so that will be it for today. Bye-bye. See you next week.